EWM. So let us understand this part first. So basically, EWM, the full form of an EWM is a extended warehouse management. Okay, extended warehouse management solution, which is developed by a company called SAP. So when I say warehouse management solution, what does it means? Like, what does a warehouse management solution? So you guys, any of you guys have an idea what does it means? Warehouse management solution? Okay, you see here, as in a supply chain, basically, we have a different parts here. So basically, whenever in a supply chain, what happens? Whenever there is a requirement, okay, whenever there is a requirement from a plant, let's say a manufacturing plant, it manufactures its finished product. So when it is manufacturing its finished product, so it needs some raw materials and semi-finished goods, isn't it? So what do they do basically? So when they want something, they want to procure it. So they procure it from the suppliers. So suppliers are basically called a vendors. Okay, so when the supplier supply these products and the business receives it, the plant receives it, and they have to manage their warehouse. Okay, you understand? So let's say, for example, let me get to this picture here. So you see this picture in here, what happens whenever there is a requirement for a production plant. So you have a production units, and in order to run any production, you need a raw materials or any kind of a product which are consumed to manufacture this finished products. So in that process, what happens? The manufacturing plants, they actually procure the products from suppliers. So when the suppliers supply those products, they actually comes in a truck. Okay, and then what they do, they deploy they deploy whatever they unload the products, whatever they have ordered, and they once they received at the premises, at the plant premises, so they have to manage a warehouse now, isn't it? So like every day they're getting so much of raw materials in order to avoid the bottlenecks of their productions. Okay, to avoid such bottlenecks from the production, they want to store their product in the warehouses. So basically, warehouse management solution is all about that, to manage your warehouse. So when you are receiving so much of products, some huge products like raw materials or big number of products and different varieties and different quantities of products, and you want to manage in your warehouse. So there are some software systems which are developed to manage your warehouses. So that's what we call as a warehouse management systems. Okay, warehouse management solution. Like in the market, there are so many companies which have the software companies. They have developed so many warehouse management solutions. In that, SAP is one of the company, one of the software company which has developed warehouse management solutions. So that is all about EWM here. So you understood what is an EWM and why do we use? Okay. So when you say input and output, so your intention is correct, but the terminology you use it here is a inbound and outbound. So when you receive something, you call as an inbound, and when you're issuing to the production, so it will be an outbound. Or in case if you're issuing to the customer, like your finished products are ready and you want to issue to the customer, so then it is an outbound basically. So it's the objective of a warehouse management solution is all about managing your warehouses. So how much of optimization can you do for your warehouse operations? Okay, and it's all about the main objective of that is that to organize and optimize your warehouse operations. See, managing a warehouse, it's a very big task here. So the point here that lot of costing, okay, lot of costing is involved in a warehouse management, like managing a warehouse incur lot of cost here. So you have to avoid as much as your stock levels, the as much of stock level, if you reduce it, so the less it will be cost effective, and the more it will be a benefit, it will be a profitable for your company. So it's all about, you call about, it's all you call is as a optimizing your warehouse. So likewise, there are so many products available. And so Manhattan is one of the WM solution, which is already in the market, which is very leading, like with or competing with SAP or Oracle WM system. So SAP has one product which is a WMS system. Okay, it's not SAP has entered in this WMS system. SAP already has its own module which is called ECCWM. Okay, so they have already entered sometime in 1997 or sometime. They already have some solution, but what happens? The product which SAP has developed is not competing with the current outstanding performing solutions of different companies. So then, as a strategic plan, they have taken a decision to implement or to introduce a new solution, to develop a new solution instead of enhancing the current one. You're following it, my terminology?
Yeah.
So instead of enhancing the current solution, they wanted to develop a new WMS solution, which is EWM. So that's how now EWM has been designed in a very different, in various dimensions, and the solutions to the available solutions in EWM to manage the warehouses, they have come up with a full length solutions. Likewise, you have few of the solutions like bin managements, placement strategies, removal strategies. Like these are some of the solutions which are used in like techniques. Okay, you can call it techniques or solutions which are being used to organize, to optimize your warehouse management, warehouse operations. So these are all being developed, and they have developed a full length solution in EW. So that's why there has been a current demand. Like there has been a lot of companies, they are upgrading from WM to EWM, and few of the companies, they are migrating from a different solution like Manhattan to EWM. So that's why you see there is a lot of influx or a lot of jobs are being created in the market, and that's how people started learning this, and that's how everybody came to know about this solution. Okay, so you clear about what is an EWM now? Yes. Because see, understanding EWM before going to having a deep insight is very important here. Okay. So when I say, every time when I say modules, like in SAP, basically you call like the different solutions which manages a different departments in any supply chain. You call those as a modules. Like MM is one of the module which handles the procurement processes. Okay, and inventory management. And sales SD is one module which handles the sales processes. Okay, and FI which handles finance departments. Likewise, EWM is also one module which manages your warehouse management. Okay, so now the thing here, we actually before what are we going to learn here? Okay, so these are things we first understand before going into the subject now. Okay, introduction part. First thing we need to understand is that we are working on a decentralized system. Okay, when I say decentralized system, what does it mean, decentralized system? So basically, whenever you have you have different boxes. Okay, when I say, let me see. Okay, can you see here? These are when I say these boxes, they are basically software systems. Okay, like SAP is one system, Manhattan one is system, and there are so many systems. Like as SAP also has a multiple boxes developed. So when I say decentralized systems, it means that the warehouse management solution is not managed in a central box like this as a center point. Okay, ECC system as a center point wherein all the executions happening, like to raise a purchase order, to get a sales order, like all these operations are happening. So you are not using your warehouse management solution within this box. In fact, you are using a separate dedicated box to implement your WM solution. So it means that the WM solution is implemented in a different box. For that, you are integrating with your central system. So it means that it is then it is called as a decentralized system. Okay, so you basically have centralized systems and decentralized systems. When a WM solution is implemented within the centralized system, so it is called a centralized warehouse. When it is implemented in a different box, okay, which is a separate software box, so then it will be called as a decentralized landscape. So whatever the activity, like whenever you do some activity, and if that product, whatever the product you receive as an inbound, when that product has to be managed in your warehouse, so it will be managed in a different box. So then it is called a decentralized system. Okay, software systems. Okay, when we have a different software systems, like SAP is one software system, and Oracle or Manhattan is one software system. Okay, when you have worked in decent what you call the retail systems, so basically if for example you are working on a retail store, you have something called POS, point of sales. Okay, so wherein you see whenever you go to any store, there will be one billing section where the guy will be scanning all your articles and he's billing your products. So that is actually a different software solution, which is you call as a POS, point of sale. So again, this is something a different software system here. You can call like this. Okay, outside what? So this is something called a POS. Now, whatever the transactions you're doing it is updating here. Apart from, you want some central system wherein you want to update your inventory. Like whenever somebody has purchased it, it means that that product is being removed from your retail store, and that inventory update should happen in SAP. So when you are using your inventory management as an SAP solution in the background, so what happens every time it will have to update it. Okay, you getting it? So now when I say this is a different box, so you do transactions here, and by this integration system will update those transactions in ECC box as well. So, as I said, like now I hope you understood. So there are different boxes where you have to integrate yourself. Okay, so this is called a integration with your different systems. So when I say systems or when I say boxes, like there are different software solutions. Like POS understands some different language, and ECP understands some different language. Again, there should be some middleware systems where system try to work with those compatibility and update those data. So there is a data communication happening between these systems. Okay, when I said in the very beginning, SAP has a benefit, like the reason why SAP is being very much successful in capturing such ERP market is that SAP is like it has, as I said, it has a different modules which takes over a different departments. So it they are all interlinked within each other. So any transaction you do in any module will get updated its dependent tables in that different department, like different modules. Like when I say I receive a purchase order, like I created a purchase order from department. When I receive the stock, okay, so that stock when the stock is updated, meaning you have received the stock in your warehouse, it means that the quantity and also the cost, okay, whatever your warehouse cost is increasing also, correct? Like the material cost you are incurring in your warehouse now. So in the same way, FI also will get updated. What are the accountings has been? What are the accounting has to update? Like your stock gets increased, your stock account get updated. So that again, if as an in FI module that gets updated, like it is very much integrated, very much closely attached with all different modules. That communication within the systems, within the system from a different modules is a big success for SAP. Okay, so when you implement SAP, so you don't need to go for any other third-party systems. Most of the solutions are available in SAP itself. Basic knowledge, like when I say a purchase order has raised, so when I say that, so you should have a basic knowledge of creating a purchase order. Okay, so again, as I said, there is a vast every module has a vast knowledge. Like if you the more you go into deep, the more you have you'll come to know. But you don't need such information, but at least you need some basic, okay, basic information on how SAP runs, and how a purchase order is being created, what are the basic components are to be know when you create some purchase order, and what is the following that you have a delivery created, okay, and how the delivery is being created. So that basic information you should have. So getting that information is not a big challenge. However, you get hundreds and hundreds of recordings or videos in the market to have a basic knowledge. Okay, so you have to put a little effort on that part. That I should agree, and you should also agree that. Okay, and more focus will be EWM. So the more you get to know about EWM and warehouse operations, but basic knowledge from a few of the models, like if you have a knowledge on and SD, that is enough. Like how you create a purchase order, and how you create inbound delivery, and how a sales order is created, how an outbound delivery is created. So this much of knowledge if you have, then it's enough for you, because every module in basically in companies, company hires people from a different model, so you don't need to know much. Whenever you get an issue within your model, so you have to handle it. If something which is not in your scope, you can always hand it over to those guys who are working in those modules, but at least you should know that which is your scope here. You got it? So basically, SAP is as a core modules, like you have FI, SD, CO, PS. There are the core modules, and they get that products. However, when you want to buy, so as a core, as in ECC, you get all those modules in the package. Okay. So apart from this, if you want to go for EWM, again this is a different box, so you have to purchase that part. And the mainly SAP works like based on its domains, like a manufacturing industry or retail industry or apparels industry or service industries. Like based on that, it has some variance within their system itself. Like you call industry specific. So in order to achieve such industry specific solutions, then you also have to purchase those part. Okay, that part you have to purchase it, and you have activate. So we call basically as business transaction events, BTS. So you have to activate those BTS, then you will get those solutions available in your system. Okay, but as a core, this FIMM, the SD, CO, all this you get when you purchase a box. So again, it depends like which one you want to use it, because even you purchase ECC, it's not all the time that you will utilize all the modules, because most of the time it will be a decentralized systems. Like you will have a different systems created for a different purpose. So those things you call as a landscape. Okay, so remember this thing when you say landscape. So every business has its own different landscapes, and it works on different systems. When you want to communicate with those different systems within your landscape, so you have to integrate it. If you don't integrate it, then the data will not be communicated inbound and outbound. Okay, so when something is going outside to the system, it is outbound, and when something is coming inside the system, this is inbound. So when you speak with respect to this, then the same again, it will be inbound, and this will be outbound. Understood? So now you're clear, right? The system architectures, okay, the system architectures, the system landscapes, different systems. So these are the basic terminologies you get to you use to these things from now on. because you shouldn't be surprised when somebody asks you, like, when you get into any project, when somebody when they say, like, this is our landscape and this is how we have a different systems. So you shouldn't be surprised. You should know this is the basic things to work in any software companies. Okay, so as I said, like, ECC, this ECC is box is facing off. Okay, by 2027. Okay, the SAP has declared that they are phasing off this box. Like, you don't see in future. It will be replaced by a new system, new box called S4 HANA. So this S4 HANA is in more technically, it has very much enhanced. Like, a big data can be achieved. You can execute a lot of bunch of data, gigabytes of data in just seconds. That's how technically they have done a lot of amendments within in the background. So now, and also it is very much compatible with the digital world. Like, you can access your operations, you can create your purchase order, you can view your inventory, everything in your gadgets now. Like, your phone or in your iPad or anywhere, you can just log in, and there you can always do any kind of operation. So that compatibility with the digitalization has come up in S4 HANA. So this, as a traditional box, will be phasing off. So now when S4 HANA is already released, so the current version is some 1909, okay, meaning 2009 and the ninth month. So S4 HANA has embedded EWM. Okay, so now uh, EWM is already embedded in S4 HANA. So when you want to use EWM in S4 HANA, so then it is a centralized system. But if you want to use EWM as a separate system, so okay, so then it will be a decentralized system. So now you can ask so as a solution, it is the same, it is identical. This mod, whatever you find in SEM is the same as you find in S4 HANA. But based on your business operations, the business decides whether to go centralized or a decentralized. Okay, so based on the volume of operations, like, there are certain companies, DHL, DHL, what is the DHL's main business? Can anybody?
Logistics.
Yeah, so they're more into logistics. Like, they manage you. There is something called the 3PLs, like third party logistics. They are a third party logistic companies. So they manage warehouse of a different companies. So when I say 3PL company, so when it has some hundreds of clients, so then the volume also will be more. So in those cases, they want some dedicated system which can only operated for a warehouse operations. And there is sometimes, there we call something sometimes called a downtimes. When I say downtime, meaning the server gets down. At those point of time, you cannot access your system. That can be for any reason, like when there is a heavy load on the system, many people are working on a peak times, the system gets low. At that part of time, you have a risk of operating your warehouse operations, like executing your warehouse operations. With this, you cannot create any transactions in your warehouse, and then what happens, it straight away impacts your business, and the delivery can't be executed, and your truck will be waiting at your warehouse, and the truck will not leave by that day. So it is delayed for 1 hour also, then it will be huge impact on your straight away on your supply chain. So that's the reason you want some dedicated system wherein which cannot go downtime, avoid such bottlenecks or risk, and which can work 24/7. So in those cases, you always wish to have a decentralized system which is a dedicated EWM solution. Clear,
So
guys?
yeah. So can we implement S4 HANA EWM decentralized? Or
Yes, you can do it. You can do it. So you have purchased S4 box, and again you have purchased an SEM box with EWM as a product. So then you communicate, you build one integration between these two systems, and you can always communicate. The systems are ready to communicate with each other, and then you can run a decentralized landscape.
Okay. And is SAP
It
going
means that
to support that decentralized EWM system after 2027?
Yes, yes, it will.
Okay.
yeah, it means for EWM you have to take a SCM box at any cost.
Yes, if you want to have a decentralized system, if you don't want, you can always perform EWM operations in S4 HANA itself.
No. Only in SCM family, SCM, APO, FNR, all
Hmm.
are together in one box, centralized box. Correct.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
But if I want only exclusive EWM, it is not possible. I have to take
It
a
is
complete
possible.
SCM box.
There is, yes, it is possible. So you have EWM as an add-on. Okay, that
Correct.
kind of
Correct.
landscape is also available. You can always use EWM as an add-on on your S4 HANA. So it will only contain EWM solution.
Okay.
That is also possible. SAP has provided such solutions, such landscape also, that flexibility. So here you use in within S4 HANA as an add-on or an SAP SCM box, the product will not change. It is as same as whatever in any of the system. Okay, based on your business volumes, based on your business decisions, you take you will take a call to whether to have it on as an add-on or it should be in SEM box or you want it in S4 HANA. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so the basic, as I say, the introduction as an introduction part. So we will be understanding the. So the first thing is that we are working on a ECC EWM decentralized system. Okay, and the second one, the second part we need to understand is that ECC EWM integration. Okay, so what does it means ECC EWM integration? What is objective when we complete this integration? What happens? I just explained you guys. Can anybody pick up?
It is a
So
data
data.
exchange. It is a
Yes,
data
exactly.
exchange between SAP MM or SD or any modules
Yeah,
between
yeah.
them to the EWM system.
Great, great, very good. So good. You are on track now. So what happens? So now this is the basic things first we have to do in order to work with the decentralized system. So the basic part is that to start with is to build a communication between ECC and EWM. And once this communication is finished, so we second thing we go build an organizational structure. Organization structure. So organization structure for MM and EWM. So let us understand what does this organization structure is. Okay. So organization structure. Okay. Let us come back. Okay. So let me open this slide. Okay. So in SAP, basically, you have something called organizational structure, and within that you have organizational elements. So all the organizational elements are assigned to each other at a different hierarchy, will to create an organizational structure. So what is the need of creating an organizational structure? So every module will have a organizational structure here. So the reason behind here is that to organize your data redundancy, first part as a technical part, like technical when I say as for the sake of software system. So you define organizational elements at a different hierarchy in the organizational structure. So what happens? The data redundancies, like you don't need to maintain for each and every element or each and every object at multiple times. Once you have maintained at a top level, so that data will be applicable for all. It will cascade all that features, all that attributes within its organizational elements. Okay, and also you define organizational structure as a business point of view. You define organizational structure to represent the physical spaces of your plant. if when I say physical spaces, what does mean a physical spaces? Like say you have a manufacturing plant. So physically you have a manufacturing plant, but when you want that physical manufacturing plant to represent in your SAP system, you create one organizational element. So you call that as a plant. Okay. And inside within the organizational plant, you have a different storage locations where you store your products, whether it can be a raw material or finished goods or spare parts or office supplies, assemblies, like any kind of a storage. When you manage in your plant, so you represent that as a storage location.